Martin Shkreli founded Turing Pharmaceuticals in early 2015. Shkreli set a new business strategy for Turing: to obtain licenses on medicines with patents that had run out and reevaluate the pricing of each in pursuit of windfall profits for the new company, without the need to develop and bring its own drugs to the market. As markets for out-of-patent drugs are often small, and obtaining regulatory approval to manufacture a generic version is expensive, Turing realized that with closed distribution for the product and no competition, it could set really high prices. In August of 2015, Turing Pharmaceuticals purchased Daraprim, a 62-year-old drug that treats toxoplasmosis, a potentially fatal parasitic infection affecting infants, AIDS patients, and cancer patients, among others. Turing promptly raised Daraprim's cost from $13.50 to $750 per pill. Shkreli's various justifications for the move, that the drug was supposedly underpriced to begin with, and that his company was absolutely 100% going to use its profits to produce better versions of the treatment, even though many doctors didn't seem to think one was necessary, did little to mute the uproar that rose against him. This video shows how he feels about his decisions. Shkreli will be able to get away with overcharging for one simple reason. Even though Daraprim's patents are long expired, nobody else makes it. This creates a monopoly over the specialty medication that is, for many ill consumers, inelastic. The situation says a lot about the way the American government regulates the pharmaceutical industry. Many developed countries use price controls to limit the ability of companies to hike up the prices of their products. The US, on the other hand, lets pharmaceutical companies charge whatever price they please, even for inelastic medication. They do this with the hope and expectation that once drug patents of one company expire, other companies will come into competition by selling the same drug for lower prices. Most prescriptions filled in the US are for generic drugs, though 20% fall into the patented category. Even generics' prices are rising due to production becoming more concentrated in the hands of fewer and fewer producers. Meanwhile, specialty medication prices are going through the roof. While the 33-year-old has earned a rare level of infamy for his boldness in business and in his personal life, what Martin Shkreli was charged for had nothing to do with skyrocketing drug prices. In fact, he was charged with security fraud. He is accused of repeatedly losing money for his investors and lying to them about it, illegally taking assets from one of his companies to pay off debtors in another. As a result of his arrest, he was replaced by new CEO for Turing Pharmaceuticals. A big issue is that largely thanks to a lack of government funding, the approval process for generic drugs has been slowed by a massive backlog of applications. So even if another pharmaceutical company had taken notice of what Shkreli was doing with Turing, they wouldn't have been able to create a generic brand for the drug to join the specific market until after a 3-year-long procedure of applications and FDA authorizations. Less than 2 years ago, a group of doctors offered one clever potential solution to this issue. When the price of an unpatented drug shoots up, the Food and Drug Administration, FDA, should actively go out and look for another company willing to make generic versions and put it on fast track through the approval process, which would otherwise take much too long for some people who are barely hanging on to life. Long before the outstanding price increases, only about 13,000 prescriptions for Daraprim were filled per year. Even if a company were to try to decrease the drug's current price, that might mean selling it for $300 a pill instead of $750. Hence, some say the only solution to the rising cost of generics, especially for specialty drugs, is more direct government regulation. When faced with monopolies, the government's usual response is to regulate. For example, Obama is attempting to fix the problem by either signing an executive order that will limit what pharmaceutical companies can charge, or by finding a way to allow health insurance providers to negotiate with pharmaceutical companies for drug prices. Regardless, the fast-tracked FDA idea seems worth trying. It could be the fastest way to avoid an imminent replay of Martin Shkreli's actions.